Hello, everybody. I guess we jump right in. That's how these things go. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to welcome you here to Food as the Foundation of Holistic Healing Summit. And before we dive in, if you feel called, it's just an invitation. If you feel comfortable, come on your camera and smile and say hello. If everyone wants to, even just for a second, if you want to come on your camera. Doesn't matter if you have bedhead. Hi, Gloria, because I want to see your smiley faces. It's
Good morning, everyone.
Good
Good
morning, Nate. Good morning, Lissa. Grace. Got Helen here. Carol's here. Oh, I love it. Amazing. Hello, everyone. Hello. Okay. Yes, well, here we are. So here we are, and I want to share with you first why I created the summit. It's created out of this deep desire to really empower people with tools, with skills that are simple to learn, but when you practice them with consistency, true health can arrive at your fingertips. And so it's not that these what we're going to show today is anything complicated. What it is it's all about the consistency.
Thank you.
And so some of these things that we're going to share in order to yeah, to inspire you, especially as we move into the holiday season. So, I feel like this is also like a very meaningful moment for me because I just celebrated my 44th birthday. And as birthdays come up, like I always get this reflection. I feel a lot of kind of change in the air. So I don't know if this is, thank you. I don't know if this is like, if you're also feeling this change. Maybe it's my age, maybe it's like what's happening in the world, but I feel like it's an exciting change. On one side of the things, it could be seen as, chaos and all this kind of stuff. But in the chaos, transformation is happening. And it all starts with us on an individual level, each of us. We have this opportunity to change our own lives with the choices that we personally make. We can't change the world unless we work on ourselves first. And I think that's something that I've kind of learned on the hard way, in a hard way, with everything that's happened in my life. And if some of you know me, then you'll know that my daughter had a tragic accident a few years back. However, she's survived and she's amazing and thriving. But this really forced me to use the tools that I've been teaching people for years. And they didn't fail me. They definitely reaffirmed that I'm on the right path because using the tools that I teach people on myself has given me what I was looking for. So I'm just seeing that more people are arriving. So we're going to let them join us. Yay! Thank you, everyone. And yes, so this is where it is we're all okay. I'm inviting you all to live more aligned with your own values, more intentional, more connected. And what I know for sure of my whole life experience and even my professional life is that healing is so much more than food. However, food is the foundation. So this is where we start. Food is the foundation, but healing is so much bigger and it's woven into every single part of our lives. So through my own practices and studies, I've gathered tools that have been used for centuries, tools that I now live by every day, tools that I share with my students. And these practices have inspired kind of this like next evolution of Pachavega, what I'm doing with my work. I've created the 6 pillars of holistic healing. So this forms the foundation of my newest hybrid coaching program, which is the Holistic Healing Code. And this 6-month experience officially launches in February 2026 with registration already open. But for those of you meeting me for the first time, if you don't know, hello, my name is Danielle Arsenault and founder of Pachavega Living Foods Education, shifting the name of my business officially to Pachavega Holistic Wellness Education because I want it to represent that expansion in the healing is holistic. So for 14 years, I've been working with food as medicine, and through my Raw Chef certification courses, the 21-day Gut Reset Challenge, and my online detox programs, I've noticed over and over and over again, you can eat the so-called perfect diet, account for every nutrient, and feel like something's still missing. That's because life is rich, it's multifaceted, it starts with what we put into our bodies, and it's our gut health, but also through my lens with a whole food, plant-based approach, we can also be flexible and we can nourish our bodies. And this is what is truly healing. So the most exciting thing for me right now, I guess maybe this is part of this big change, is that in December, I'll be breaking ground on La Vida Bonita. This is a holistic sanctuary that I'm building here on Ometepe Island. The heart of it all is the Pachavega kitchen. And after today's summit, I'll invite you to join the next 21-day Gut Reset Challenge because every single dollar of this program will go directly to building that kitchen. So when you join, you won't just be resetting your gut, you'll also be supporting the vision and the work, this kind of work that we're all here involved with, bringing it to a global community. And I know Lissa and Nate and Crystal and Debbie, you're all going to come one day and host your own retreats in this space. I can feel it. Part of healing is also community connection. So I'm so grateful that these beautiful people have come here today to be with us, to share their insights, to share their wisdom, to share really what works in the realm of holistic healing, stuff that's simple that we can all apply in our lives. So I'm hosting this right before the holidays, even though we're just at the beginning of October. You know how fast it goes. So some of the questions that I get actually happen a lot around the holidays. Like, how do I stay vegan throughout the holidays? How do I keep it simple? How do I keep it stress-free? What do I do about my, grandma, my aunt, my mother-in-law? Like, how do I manage this? How do I show up with integrity without folding? I know people that say, well, for the holidays, I'll just do whatever they say, just to not cause problems. But is that really in alignment with what you believe and what you want to do? So how do we step into your alignment even when you are faced with some things that might be uncomfortable? So after today, I'm going to send you the vegan Thanksgiving meal plan. So that's a video demo and a beautiful menu from me. But also a few days ago, I just shared a conversation with Julia Murray about how to be a chill vegan during the holidays. And it was a great conversation. She also shared her chill vegan survival guide with us. So be sure to go back to the email, download her guide. And then today we're going to build off that theme. So you amazing speakers are all here to share your best strategies, tips, recipes that help you feel grounded and confident and nourished throughout the holidays. And so that we can all stay in alignment with our values with ease, right? That's kind of the trick, is like putting those things all in the same bucket. So we lead from our heart into potential conflict. Sometimes this happens around the dinner table. So if you don't already, grab a pen, grab a notebook. I'd also love you to find at least one takeaway that you can implement right away after the summit. Like literally you shut the computer, you go to your kitchen and you do something that you learned here today. And if you leave with 2 or 3 or 4, amazing. So these next 2 hours are power packed, they're practical. I know that your time is precious, so thank you for being here with me on a Saturday. And if you do have questions along the way, just hold off until the end. And then if we have some time left over, which we might, then we can open the chat and go through some of those together. But if we run out of time, that's okay too, because you'll still walk away with so many tools to get started right away. So without further ado, one more deep breath. Our first speakers, oh, I love them both. They're Lissa and Nate Merritt, better known as Raw Food Romance and Raw Natty Nate. And so Lissa and Nate are leaders in the raw food movement. They are passionate about helping people simplify gut health through small daily practices anyone can do. They're both super awesome individuals. And you've got so many things going on, I can almost never keep up. But I love it because I feel like you are also in this realm of the whole, food is the foundation, healing is holistic. Certainly, I will make it to the Las Vegas area one day. We're going to go hiking. It's one of my favorite things to do. I can't wait to eat some of your wraps on the tailgate. So yeah, they're going to share with us today big gut wins, which are these simple, no-cost habits for better digestion. I love this because these strategies are things that you can implement immediately to reduce bloating, improve nutrient absorption, support your overall well-being without supplements or expensive products, because sometimes this can be a blockage for people. So I'm excited to hear what you both have to share. Welcome, Nate.
Yay! Oh,
Hey, thanks so much for having us on. This is amazing.
yeah.
So honored to be here.
It's wonderful to see everybody here who is excited to learn from all the speakers and from you. So thank you, Danielle, for inviting us. When you said that about the holiday thing, one thing that popped into my mind before we get into our talk, was when I first went raw, something that really, really helped me when it came to family gatherings or even just buying food at the grocery store when the cashier is like, wow, you've got a lot of bananas or greens and stuff on your, wow. Yeah. We naturally want to say like, oh, I'm raw vegan or I'm vegan. Like we want to say those things right away, but those can put walls up between you and the person you're interacting with if they don't know what vegan is or if they know about it but they're not ready to change or what have you. The best thing that I ever discovered was one day I didn't want to get into it. I was just like in a rush, kind of. I was just buying my groceries, and the cash register person was like, oh, wow, you've got a lot of stuff. And instead of saying I'm a raw vegan, all I said was, yeah, just trying to eat healthier. And immediately their walls went down and they said, yeah, I got to do that too. Like they were totally on that level. And now, whenever there's someone new who I can, you can kind of tell when someone's going to be a little, um, you know, debative or combative with you. Just say like, yeah, just trying to eat more fruits and veggies. Or like when I saw my eye doctor and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm eating tons of fruits and vegetables now, like so they don't know, they don't have to know that you're a raw vegan or a vegan or whatever it is, just that you're trying to eat healthier. And this is what resonates with you right now. So if you're at like the family gathering and you bring your salad, just be like, I just really feel like a salad today, just trying to eat healthier. And that really can help. So I wanted to share that before we began.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. And it kind of reminds me of this movie. It's this old school movie with Steve Martin, and it's called Parenthood. And there's a point in there where one of the family members brought their own food, and they're like, oh yeah, ever since we started power eating, I've never felt better. So yeah, like Liz is saying, it is such a nice way to just kind of put it to bed, put it to rest. And then you open the other person up because you're a reflection for them. They're like, oh my gosh, like internally, they're like, I should probably be eating a salad too, rather than all these, French fries on my plate or whatever. But yeah, saying, I love that. Yeah, we're just trying to eat more fresh vegetables. And then the other people always are like, oh yeah, they get into it. And then it opens it up to be able to have that conversation where you can, maybe even eventually tell them, or, if you're bagging up your groceries, like by the end, they might know that you're a raw vegan, but they don't feel like threatened or you're trying to one up them or whatever. Cause we all feel, I feel like, bad enough about ourselves in life as it is, no matter what. Yeah, so that's a really, really good
hmm
tip.
Yeah. So let's chat about our cost-free
Mm.
ways to improve digestion. And this works really well for the holidays because yes, food and connection are linked. But there's some things that we do when we're with other people or even just with ourselves that impede digestion. And what I noticed, like when Nate and I were dating, I was creating Meal Plan Volume 3 and I made this recipe called Mahini curry. And we were eating it like every single night for dinner for like 5 nights in a row. And we felt great because we were implementing a lot of these things that we're going to talk about. But on, I think, the fifth or sixth night, we went over to a friend's house. It was a couple. And we brought the mahini curry again because we were like, we got to have this again. We got that. They need to have it too. So they were like, they followed a high raw diet, so they were really familiar with it. And we brought the salad. We all had the salad. But we sat for long periods after. We talked around the table. And, all of these things that we'll talk about caused us to have kind of a rock in our stomach. And we're like, that's interesting because we've eaten the same thing all the time and never had an issue. But because we were doing all these things, it was causing a little bit of digestive upset. So we'll go through some of these things that you can do even with your friends and family, which is even better because, everybody gets to benefit from these things. So the first one would be, and I know this is really challenging when you're with other people, especially around the holidays, but to chew your food thoroughly. This is probably, I would say, the top number one free thing that you can do to not only improve your digestion, but also improve nutrient absorption. Because when you're chewing and masticating your food, you're exposing so much surface level for your bacteria and your body to be able to absorb everything from the food. I get lots of people who tell me that corn, for example, isn't human food because they see it in their stools, whole pieces of corn. And I'm like, it's not that you can't digest it, it's because you didn't chew it, right? We don't have teeth in our stomach. Digestion begins in the mouth. So we need to chew our food. And they say roughly around 30 to 40 chews per bite, but I like to challenge people. The next time you take a big bite of food, try to aim for 80 chews just to see. And it's a really good comparison. Just do the one time and notice how you want to swallow at around 5, maybe 15 chews. That's kind of like the natural, you just want to swallow because it's a habit. It's not that that's the natural time to swallow. It's just that we have like such a rushed life and we just eat really fast that we tend to swallow way too early. And then there's chunks of food in there and we don't actually get as much from our food that we want. We might get gassy, bloated, all that kind of stuff. So chewing our food for a minimum of 30 to 40 chews per bite, really slow down. I like to just say chew it until it's a smoothie in your mouth. And once it's smoothie consistency, then swallow it and then go into your next bite, which moves into the next point.
Such a solid thing to do. And it is so tricky to chew your food to 30 times because it's pretty much gone by then. But that is a great thing to do. Next thing would be to just slow down. I mean, a lot of times we get to the table, I mean, unless everything is lined up and it's just a nice evening with maybe you and a partner or, a friend where everything's just kind of calm. It seems that meal times in a lot of ways are just really fast paced. Just get it in, got to get going, breakfast, lunch, you're like, you only got 30 minutes, dinner. Oh, you rushed to get dinner, but you got to get the kids to the game or whatever it might be. So slowing down really is so huge. And like we did the deep breath before the class today, right? Or before the summit, just a couple of deep breaths. And, you don't have to say, I mean, if you say grace, you can say grace, but, maybe have that connection with the food, thank the farmer, thank the people who, all the people involved to even get the food to where you can have it to prepare. Yeah, it's really, yeah. Also just breathing, right? Just like I was saying, where you just take that deep breath, slow it down.
Yeah.
And that gives our digestive system time to process and really help the whole digestive process. And if you're slowing down, like Liz is saying for that first tip, and you're chewing, and you're really just trying to count, I would try to challenge each one of you guys to try to chew 40 times and see if you can make it to 40.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. It's really crazy how fast we go through our meals these days. And like Nate said, like there's always something coming after. So really slowing down and even putting the fork down in between bites, that can be a really beneficial thing because while we're chewing, we already have food on the fork for the next bite, right? We're like, it's already ready to go. We're like, oh, there's, all these pieces on this fork. I'm really excited for that bite. But it's like, what about the bite that's in your mouth? Like, enjoy it. Slow down. Just chill.
I'm sure a lot of us have eaten stuff where it's gone and you're like, did I even just eat that?
Right.
Like, I'm still kind of hungry because you weren't really present with the food. Maybe it's an engaging conversation. Yeah, it's interesting.
It totally is. And then, as Nate was mentioning about slowing down, is also that gratitude. And I love that he mentioned about like thanking the farmer, thanking, how it got to you, and then thanking the universe for the ability to have what you have and whatever's, your availability, because some people don't have access to certain things.
Or being able to chew.
Or being able to chew. That's a good one. Yeah. I know some people have issues with chewing, and there's some other things that you could do to help with that. Like, if you have like dental issues or what have you, or TMJ, you can actually make like food processed slaws instead of like a chopped salad, because that can really help lessen the amount. But you still have to mix it with your saliva, even if you're not chewing necessarily and it's already kind of mushy, like a smoothie,
Mm,
for example.
mm.
You can swish it around with the saliva in your mouth, because the saliva,
Or chew it. Chew the
or
smoothie.
chew it. Yeah, just chew it, mix it up in there. But really de-stressing, the third point that we have is de-stressing before your meal. So not only slowing down during eating, but slow down before you even start eating, because we have two different states of our nervous system. We have the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic is the fight or flight, right? That's your stress state. But the parasympathetic is the rest and digest, right? So if we want to rest and digest, we need to be in parasympathetic mode. So before a meal, that's where prayer, gratitude, breath work, even if it's just 5 minutes before you start eating, 2 minutes, even if you have a 1 minute, like just sit at the table and take a breath, practice the gratitude for what you are about to eat. Whether you have a spiritual practice or whatever it is, just spend some time with your food and in your body before you begin eating. Because we all know when we're super stressed out and we've got anxiety going on and we're worried about this and that and the other thing, you eat, like Danielle said, doesn't matter how perfect the food is or how perfectly combined you think it is or whatever. If you're eating during a state of stress, if you're in sympathetic nervous system, it's not going to digest properly, because your digestion is like, okay, we're going to turn it off right now. We're going to go deal with this and this and this. And we're thinking of all this other stuff. We're not worried about digestion. So it sits and ferments and you get gassy and bloaty. And then you're like, oh, like I just can't eat anything. But it's not necessarily the food that you're eating. It's the state at which you're eating it in. So taking that time to de-stress and relax, even doing some stretching, maybe a light like yoga routine where you're just like, you don't just take some time to de-stress before you eat.
And that's such a solid point. And especially with the holiday seasons coming up, right? The holiday seasons are stressful for everybody. I mean, I'm sure there's people that we like to see, relatives, but there's other people that maybe we're a little anxious to see. And yeah, this practice can really help at the dinner table with the conversations or the energy exchange. And I mean, maybe there's nothing wrong with just excusing yourself and going and eating by yourself, because of course that would help, right? Like, I'm just going to take my plate to the closet. I don't want to see any of you people. But, I mean, of course that might not work out for everybody. So having that time to really slow down and is so huge. And another thing too is to we have a stomach acid, and our stomachs are working really hard to keep that hydrochloric acid at the level that it needs to be. So if we're drinking a lot of water, or maybe we're drinking like, some, virgin mocktails, or even maybe some cocktails, if you guys are, drinking alcohol, these sorts of things, drinking a lot before your meal dilutes the stomach acid. So then you can't really digest as efficiently. So that's another thing to avoid. Just don't drink as much before the meals, and as well as during the meals. I always thought it was really weird as a kid. Like, we'd go to the mall, you'd see somebody in the food court, and they would take a big old bite of whatever it is they're having a bite of, and they would be drinking while, like, some soda while they're chewing. I tried it a couple times as a kid because I was like, what? And that's just so weird to drink while you're chewing solid food. So yeah, definitely, avoid that.
Yeah, and if you need something, like, sometimes you want to like wash it down, just like little sips of water.
Yeah,
You
totally.
really need something.
I
Yeah.
do like to have water next to me because I like to rinse my mouth. Sometimes I get something stuck in my teeth, and of course, Lissa has to hear me swooshing water next to her. So thank you so much for dealing with that. But yeah, it also talking too. Like, talking is, sometimes you're swallowing air. And that time, it was a real interesting thing, that time that we had with our friends where we brought them mahini curry, which, shout out to all you guys who know what we're talking about. Sometimes you have a new recipe or a new dressing or whatever, and you're like, let's have it again. What do you want tonight? Let's have that again. Like, we get stuck on certain things for a certain time. But it was really interesting to see how uncomfortable we felt in comparison to the previous days of the week. And that's what really brought it to our minds. Like, wow, we were sitting and we were talking for like an hour and a half. We're talking while we're chewing. We're not like slowing down. We're not fully present with our food. We're just eating and we're having fun and we're talking. It's really easy to do. But,
Mhm.
and I'm not sure what kind of beverages we had before we ate. I don't really think there was too many
We did,
beverages, but
yeah.
of course, drinking lots of water before your meals, they say can be good because you're less empty, like you can be more full so you don't have to eat as much. But with raw and living
Mm.
foods, right, you don't need to worry about that. So yeah, definitely, just mind your water consumption before your meals are really can help.
Hmm. Yeah. And so for the talking thing, if you're with friends and family, it's nice to have like maybe a game to play so you're connected with them, but you're not necessarily talking a lot. Like obviously you can still talk, but
Mm.
slow down, chew your food. And honestly, chewing your food when you're with other people and really paying attention to that actually opens your ears and you can actually hear what the other person is saying without having to jump in all the time with what you have to say as well. So it's a really good thing to do. Like you're focusing on your chewing, but you're also listening more to the people that you're with. So Nate and I, we really like to play chess while we do lunch. So chess is like one of our favorite games. So even if it's just you and your partner playing chess and just being quiet and focusing on our food, we're still doing something together and we're still connected. We're not watching TV or anything, even though we do sometimes watch TV too.
We
But
don't, we
yeah,
don't watch TV, we watch the computer. We don't have a TV.
yeah, true. But yeah, just having something else to do with the people you're with. So it's not necessarily just always about talking and catching up, because we can do that later, which Nate's going to talk about in a second. But the next tip would be eat at consistent times to regulate your digestive rhythm. So we all have like the circadian rhythm thing. That's why it's so important to go to bed at a specific time. And they say, even on weekends, go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same, the weekend doesn't like magically change your circadian clock. It's the same every single day. And the body loves routine and consistency because when it's in routine and consistency, everything can flow really easily. So if one day you're skipping meals and the next day you're eating early and then you're having a lot for dinner and then the next night you skip dinner and you're kind of all over the map with your meals, this is going to cause some digestive upset because the microbiome loves consistency as well. It loves consistent sleep, it loves consistent exercise, and it loves consistent meals. So when your body knows that it's going to be getting certain nutrients at certain times, everything flows a lot easier, and this can really help people with any digestive issues too. But yeah, that's a short one, but just plan your meals to work within reason. Obviously, life's going to happen, but try your best to have them as consistent as possible.
I love that. I love that. Maybe in the future, we'll be able to actually plug in and see how our body is processing the certain foods that we eat. It would be pretty fascinating to see. And of course, it would really be enticing to the younger children to see, like, oh, this is what a Cheeto does to your body when you're digesting it, as opposed to a grape, right? And if it's done in a cool form, it could really change the mindsets of a lot of people because a lot of adults too, right? They say we learn on a fourth grade level. So we need more of these cartoons showing what actually is happening to the body during these times, like uptaking the nutrients from the food we just ate, right? Or like the insulin sensitivity, like how fast is your body able to get those sugars into the cells? What really can help this? And of
Mhm.
course, we don't know because we're not plugged in. This is just going off of the sciences that we've researched as well as how we feel, is taking a walk after the meal, right? So
Or
after
even
the
doing squats.
yeah, doing some sort of body movement.
Mhm.
Walking is really simple, even if it's just 10 minutes. And sometimes we don't really want to go for a walk after dinner. Like, I don't really want to, but it's like, let's just go. And, we get a little nutty with it. We'll throw on our weighted vests and we'll just take a walk around the block. It's like sometimes might be 15 minutes if we're not wanting, if we have other stuff we need to do or whatever. But a lot of times it could be like a 30 to even 45-minute walk, which is really nice to be able to be in a position in life to do that. But walking is so simple. Or like Lissa's saying, you could do a few squats. Something like that could really help. Of course, it's not like you're going to rebound or jump rope or something like that,
Or
but
go swimming.
dancing might be kind of fun. I know, Danielle, you're really into dancing. We love dancing. Dancing could be really fun if you had a little dance party after your meal or something like that. But some sort of movement, I always like to think of it as, and you guys have probably heard this before too, is like shaking that meal down into the leg, right? Like get it out of the stomach, shake it into the leg. So that way you got a little bit more, you feel just a little bit better. You don't feel like, I can't even tie my shoe right now or whatever, right? So yeah, definitely some form of movement after the meal is so key. And you feel great. And of course, the studies show it's helping your insulin resistance, it's helping your body uptake the nutrients that you just had.
Exactly. And it's such an awesome activity to do with your family
Mm.
at the holiday time, right? After we finish the big holiday meal that we chewed and we slowed down to eat, let's all go for a walk together outside. Let's go walk and talk
Yes.
on this walk and, improve our insulin function and, catch up on the stuff that we didn't talk about at dinner time.
Yeah.
Right?
And then after the walk, you can go back and sit down for a little while and just really enjoy each other's company. It's so
Mhm.
easy to just eat and sit and talk
Mhm.
and enjoy each other's company.
Which is great, but
Man, that
yeah.
movement is
Mhm.
so key.
Yeah. And like Nate said, dancing in the kitchen, like you could have like your sisters, your cousins, your uncles, whoever, everyone gets in the kitchen and we have like a big dance party while we all clean up,
Yeah.
right? So just to get that movement in is so
And that
important.
brings a vibe for sure. And especially if you have people in your family who aren't plant-based eaters, this can, of course, like really help like raise that energy up. They see this like light energy coming out of you. You're just vibing. And you're not pushing an agenda on them. Of course, we all want to convert people, right? And it goes for many different sects in life. Like people love the conversion, like converting someone to something, right? But that can be done just by that calm energy, the just
Being a good
yeah,
example.
yeah,
Yeah.
being present with not only yourself, they can feel that, others, right? Because we're talking about the holidays, and Danielle, you talked about the funnel. I always call it the funnel. Like as soon as October hits, it's like there we
Right.
are. It's like the new year. Like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah.
So we're in that funnel time right now, and this can be a very trying time for a lot of us with our relatives, and it ought to be something that is really special where we can really reconnect and be on a level of trying to inspire our families to eat more fruits and vegetables. Really. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
Dancing always brings the
Yeah.
vibe. Dancing and music, right?
Yeah, and it's going to be make it fun, like Nate said. Like they're going to see you, they're going to be like, "Dang, she's got a lot of energy," or "He's doing good." So they're going to see, they're going to watch you, and you are the example. The next tip would be, and this is again, these are all free things that you can do. Sit
Oh,
upright
oh
when
yeah, I'm
you're
slouching.
eating.
I'm slouching.
Sit upright when you're eating. So many of us eat slouched. I mean, we're on our phones, we're on our computers, we're slouched. We're always in this like curved kind of fetal position.
I was trying to sit up straight the other day. We found this really cool restaurant, and I sat back in my chair and just held my bowl under my chin so I could just eat like this, so I could sit up straight because I didn't want to lean over the table. I just wanted to take a break for. It's kind of funny, like how much we slouch. You don't even realize it.
Yeah, you don't even realize it. Our one of our yoga teachers, when we were in Canada, would say, "Healthy spine, healthy life." And most of us have the spine more arched inward because of phones and everything else. And so when we're eating like that, you're all crunched up, and food can't necessarily fit in there properly if you're like crunched over. So sitting up and being present, it can prevent acid reflux as well because if everything's crunched together, the food's not fully getting down there sometimes. So it's really important to make sure that you have good posture, not only in life but while you're eating as well.
I love that. I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then of course another big thing as a plant-based eater,
Mhm.
or really as anybody, we can get stuck in eating certain things over and over and over again. So expanding our window or our lens of what's actually available. And of course, certain people have other things available that other people don't, but including variety, a lot of variety. Like we're like just talking the other day, we're like, oh, we need to buy some more bok choy. We ought to be having like bok choy. That should be a bok choy should actually be like romaine lettuce. We should be buying bok choy every time. Because, you know, right now bok choy is kind of on a rotation, but including this variety really can help support the the little dudes, I like to call them, which are the microbiome, the gut flora, these bacteria that are doing so many positive things for us. They thrive on different plant fibers, and the variety is going to help colonize different flora, different chains of these bacteria. Again, being kind of like a tech nerd in a way, not that I'm like super techie, but I would love to be able to see these sorts of things. Like, is this really helping? Is the bok choy actually helping? But there's ways to test these sorts of things. And of course, we're at an infancy stage in a lot of ways on these kinds of tests, like saying a microbiome test, doing a microbiome test. It is so fascinating to be able to manage what you had measured before, right? So having something like that done is just showing that like for Alyssa and I, we've been doing microbiome tests the last couple of years. It's so fascinating to see the different strains of bacteria that are getting stronger, that are beneficial bacteria because we're eating raw and living foods. They're getting stronger because of this variety that we're eating, right? And it's so simple. It's like all I had to do is just add some endive to my salad, you know, or like radicchio. What is radicchio? And then of course, like, you know, radicchio here in the States is pretty expensive. It's like $5 for a little tiny head of radicchio, you know, but it looks so beautiful in your salad and you're feeding those little dudes. So that can be another real cheap and easy way to improve your gut health.
Just add more variety. And then, yeah, on the final point that we have for our presentation would be along the same lines, but how to add more variety. Because, like Nate said, a head of radicchio can be $5, but you're not eating the whole head in your salad. You're having a small amount. So, the point is to add variety slowly, especially if you're not used to it. Start slow with certain things. Like that head of radicchio can last you a whole week. Like it holds up pretty well in your fridge, and you're just, chopping off like maybe when you're starting, maybe it's just a tablespoon. Maybe you get a little tiny head and you just do a little tablespoon shaved in your salad. And that's all you need to start with.
Yeah, like I really don't like arugula very much. Or parsley. Arugula or parsley are kind of things that I just don't really care for them. But I do understand that including these foods, they're powerful foods, into my diet is so important. So I'm like, make sure I put a little bit of parsley in every single night, like into my salad, or say the arugula. Like I'm going to put some more arugula in there because eventually I'm going to be like, yo, can you, like if Liz is making, like, grab a handful of arugula. Like I'm going to be craving arugula, but I got to grow that microbiome, and it starts slowly. And then of course our taste buds change.
Exactly. Like with the radicchio, when we first started doing the microbiome testing, radicchio and endive were some of the top foods. Also sunchokes that we typically do, and it's in season right now, so we got to get some.
I know we do.
But yeah, the radicchio we started adding, and radicchio is fairly on the bitter side. So people who aren't used to eating a lot of bitter foods might find it like extra bitter, and that's why you want to start slow with it as well. But Nate and I can have half a head split between the two of us of radicchio, and we actually love it. Like
Yeah.
I miss the salad if there isn't radicchio
Just
in
eating
it.
a leaf by itself. But yeah, like Lissa's saying, we have friends who are like one bite and they're like, oh, and it's like, well, we obviously have some bacteria or microbes that are craving it because I don't taste that bitter the way that they do.
Exactly. And since we've been doing parsley, we try to put, like Nate said, parsley in every salad that we make. Just because, we're always learning.
Just a tiny bit. Like a tablespoon
Yeah.
chopped is or even a 2 tablespoons chopped, like you can't even tell it's in there.
But you're getting that benefit. So that's basically the idea of this, is to go slow with these new fibers and just add more to your salad. Like my idea is it's better to have small amounts of many things than large amounts of just one or two things, right? So we want to have, so you don't have to have 4 cups of broccoli. You just have 2 florets with a little bit of radicchio, with some romaine and the bok choy and the dandelion and all, all the other stuff, tomatoes and cucumbers.
Which can sound really overwhelming to someone who's fast paced. They got kids in sports and stuff like that. But if you can throw on your favorite song and you can groove out for a second, take a deep breath.
Or listen to a summit like this.
Right? You open the fridge, you start pulling all the stuff out. When you actually just do the thing, it doesn't take very long. It's fast. And of course, if you have family or friends who don't see vegetables being chopped very often, it's going to mesmerize them.
Totally, right?
They're like, whoa.
And, a lot of things that you can prepare in advance as well. Like you can chop them enough for 2 salads at a time. So the next salad, you don't have to do anything because you already have it chopped. It's already in a container and you're ready to go. So doing things like that can be really helpful too. But those would be our top tips.
Let's recap real quick.
Okay. Chew your food thoroughly to support breakdown and nutrient absorption.
And then slow down while you're eating to really give your digestive system a chance to process everything.
De-stress and relax before your meals, like deep breaths, prayer, gratitude, connection with your food.
And avoid drinking large amounts of liquids and waters before or during your meals.
And talking too.
Yeah, and talking. Right.
Eat at consistent times to help regulate your digestive rhythms.
And then move your body after you eat. Go for a quick little walk. That's 6.
Sit upright while you're eating and after meals. We don't want to crunch down while we're watching TV after.
Yes, right.
Sit up nice and tall to prevent acid reflux and aid in food movement.
And of course, eat a wide variety of foods. Rotate greens that you don't really rotate very often and try new stuff. Maybe there's something you've seen. You're like, I've seen this before. What is it? I'm just going to try. Look it up, chat, Google, right? Throw a little bit in your food.
And seasonal foods too.
Yeah.
Persimmons coming in season soon.
Right.
Yes. And then go slow with adding that new variety. Just start with small amounts, just like going to the gym. You don't go to the gym and you start lifting 80-pound weights right away. You got to start with the 5s.
That's right.
And then as your muscles get stronger, you increase the weight. So as your gut gets stronger, you increase variety and volume. So
that's 9 tips for you guys. We love you so much. And the power of number 9 is pretty powerful too. And of course, we wish you all the best of luck throughout this holiday season. Try not to be an angry vegan. It can be really tricky sometimes. Give some grace, family.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, Lisa and Nate. I really appreciate it. What I'm hearing a lot with you, what you're saying, these super simple tips, and also it's an awareness, right? We're actually expanding our awareness. When we're doing all of these things on your list, I feel like, there's an awareness and expansion of what we're actually doing here, right? The slowing down, all of what you're saying, the not talking, the breathing, the slowing down, it all comes with this higher level awareness that really we need to practice.
Yeah.
So I feel like the practicing of this awareness, because maybe a lot of you here have heard some of these tips before, but do you actually do them, right? And you said, Nate, do the thing. Right? Because we can talk about it for ages, but if we don't actually do it, nothing changes. So that's the invitation, is to practice some of these things. So thank you. And before we move on to Grace, was there a free gift that you were going to share with our audience today?
Yes. So we have our vegan resource guide, which is free for anyone.
It wasn't the carabiner?
He's been playing with that the whole time.
It's my fidget spinner.
So we have our free vegan resource guide. So you can get that. It's basically why vegan, why raw, and then they're a collection of our favorite vegan movies, books, and websites. So if you're looking for kind of a more ideas on what to watch for movies or read for books or whatever, these are some of our favorites. So that's free for everybody. So
Yay! Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'll send these links in a follow-up email after our summit. So thanks so much. Grace!
Thank you, Danielle.
Hi.
Hi! Wow, I'm so excited. Wow, Grace and I almost met in person last weekend. It just didn't work out, but she's here in Nicaragua as well, and Wow, thank you so much for being here. I really can't wait to meet you in person. I feel like we do know each other already, but you've been just like me. I feel sometimes when I see what you're doing, I feel like you're like my big sister. I'm following in your footsteps. Being this pioneer here in Nicaragua, food as medicine. You've been helping people also for decades, like not only understand detoxification, that it's not just this once in a while thing, but it's a daily process that the body is already designed to do. And you also have a wide repertoire of diverse holistic healing skills, right? Including yoga and everything that you're offering up at your center in Nicaragua, which is in northern Nicaragua. And that's why we haven't met, 'cause we're quite the distance and we're both quite busy, but one day it will happen. So thank you. You're going to share your daily detox tips, which are simple food lifestyle strategies that support your digestion, your liver, your hormones, your mood, your skin. Easy ways to reduce inflammation, boost energy, and feel lighter every day. Thank
Yeah,
you for being
thank you,
here.
Danielle. Nice to see you online. I'm actually
Yeah,
so close to you. I'm in Playa, Colorado right now. Yeah,
just right there, over there.
yeah, I was in Playa Escamita yesterday for 2 days, and then I headed out of the country tomorrow. But I'm so close to you. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let me introduce myself. My name is Grace Van Berkham. I've been a registered holistic nutritionist for 19 years now. I own Glow Flex Health Center in northern Nicaragua in Aseradores for, I guess I'm going on 9 years now.
Nicaragua.
In Nicaragua. um, and, originally when I started my health center, I just wanted to create a safe place for people to come and learn about food and be in nature and enjoy Nicaragua while, getting nutrition education. But it's really become a detox center, which wasn't my original intentions. And what I've realized over the years is, people coming to learn how to eat, they don't eat that way. So then they start having, the detox reactions, and they have to go through the whole process of cleansing the body. And actually, it became a little more intense than I ever wanted because I was supporting people through many healing journeys. And what I've learned now going on year 9 is that my original plan was to have like one menu, and it was a raw menu. And that's what everybody was coming for that. And then now it's evolved into 10 menus. So I have different categories that I put people in depending on, what their issue is, how long they're coming for. Most people come 7 to 14 days. Sometimes I get people for 3 months. And yeah, we put people in the right category. We might start them at a lower level and then build up, kind of gauging how well their body's detoxing or how challenged or not challenged their body's detoxing. So yeah, I've learned a lot about how to help people support their own bodies throughout this process. So I will talk about what I've learned today about the body. So what I see today is, especially having this detox center, is that many people think detox is something they do once a year. They don't treat their bodies right. They eat like crap. They let stress take over their lives, all the things. And then they're like, oh, it's okay. I'm going to go to Grace's and I'm going to detox. And although that's good for my business, I do try to empower my clients and teach them that you don't need to come and see me. Actually, you can do things on a day-to-day basis to help your body detox naturally, because your body naturally detoxes on a day-to-day basis. So how can we do easy things consistently to help your body release toxins? So that is what I'm going to talk about today. Your body naturally, your liver especially, will help filter out toxins that we're ingesting, whether it's through food, whether it's through the environment, whether it's from the soils, cleaning supplies, beauty supplies. So we need to help the body come into balance so it can release these toxins efficiently. Some signs that you do need to detox, of course, low energy, poor digestion, skin issues, sleep issues, hormonal issues, frequent sugar cravings, like intense sugar cravings, headaches, bad breath strong body odor. These are night sweats. These are all signs that your body needs to detox. And let's talk about the channels of elimination and what they are. So we've got 6 main channels of elimination. The liver, which filters out your blood, processes nutrients, neutralizes toxins. We have our kidneys, of course, which filters 50 gallons of blood daily, and it helps to remove waste and excess through your urine. Your colon, which is an important one, and a lot of my clients who, let's say, come to my center who are challenged with their health, they have clogged colon. So we need to make sure the colon is working well because it's our garbage removal system and helps to remove the waste and excess from the body. Our skin is an eliminative organ, which a lot of people don't realize. We release a lot of waste and heavy metals through sweating. So that's why it is so important to move daily. Our lungs, they are the breath of cleansing. So we release carbon dioxide with every exhale, and deep breathing actually helps to alkalize the body and reduce inflammation. And not only that, not only from a physical perspective, but as we dive deeper into deep breathing, it helps to calm the thoughts of the mind and helps to stimulate our parasympathetic nervous system, which is also very important. And our lymphatic system. So our lymphatic system is mostly water. So of course we need to drink lots of water to help our lymph move. We need to move the body as you're drinking water. And, you know, the deep breathing also helps with the lymphatic system, massage, dry brushing, and also cold contrast showers. So basically we want to think of the body as a house. We have our liver as our head housekeeper, our kidneys as the plumbing, colon as the garbage service, skin as the open windows, our lungs as air filters, and our lymph as the drains. So we need to support our body to do all these jobs so that we can efficiently remove toxins from the body and feel better. I just quickly want to talk about the gut-brain axis before I move into simple strategies. So our gut and our brain is constantly communicating through the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve comes from the brain all the way down the body, through the chest and the heart to our digestive organs. And it is a two-way communication system. So if our digestion is compromised, the messages from our gut to our brain are going to be compromised. So even though it is a two-way communication system, I find it very fascinating that 80 to 90% of the communication comes from the gut, actually. So of course, that's going to affect your brain, which in turn affects how you respond to stress, your emotions, your moods, and things like your immunity. So it's very important that our digestion is working well so that this also affects our brain health. 90% of serotonin, which is our feel-good neurotransmitter, is made in the gut. So that's, you know, I think that's a very fascinating statistic. Your gut bacteria also produces dopamine and GABA, which will influence your mood and focus. And of course, again, if your gut health is imbalanced, your mood regulation is going to suffer. So it will lead to things like anxiety, depression, emotional issues, irritability, brain fog. And these are all things that are very prevalent in our world today. So that's why it's always important when we're trying to heal the body that we go back to digestion and try to heal digestion. And signs that your vagus nerve may be weak or not functioning well is very similar to signs that you need a detox. Poor digestion, acid reflux, heartburn, irregular heartbeat, feeling anxious, on edge, difficulty calming down after stressful events, brain fog, low mood or depression, trouble swallowing, and chronic inflammation, a big one. So let's talk about ways to support the liver. This is a big one that will help with daily detoxification. So you really want to increase your cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage. Leafy greens, which the last presenters talked about, spinach, kale, Swiss chard, arugula, dandelion, beet greens, carrot greens. Beets are amazing, excellent for supporting the liver and for bile flow. Garlic, onions, cucumbers, citrus fruits, berries, turmeric, ginger, walnuts, flax, chia, and fermented foods, of course, which are going to help with your gut health. So incorporating more of these on a day-to-day basis, of course, are going to help your body work more efficiently. Plus, you're going to get more phytonutrients, vitamins and minerals. And most importantly, actually, is you're going to get more fiber, which is going to help the toxins to be removed from the body. We also want to include things like cleansing herbs. Dandelion is amazing, dandelion root and leaf. Milk thistle is amazing for detoxification daily. Cilantro, parsley, holy basil, ashwagandha. These are all going to help calm inflammation and support the nervous system, which in turn will help with detoxification. I also love things like chlorella, which is a blue-green algae that really helps to bind toxins and heavy metals. And I love actually medicinal mushrooms to support the body as well. So chaga, lion's mane, reishi, cordyceps. These will help. They're not specifically for detox, but they help to support the nervous system, which will help support detox. And then, of course, I love herbs for digestion and inflammation, ginger, turmeric, cardamom, cinnamon. Incorporating more of these into your daily regimen will help with your digestion and in turn detoxification. And I'll go over my top 10 daily detox tips, a lot of what I just talked about there, but really important. I think this is often more important than actually what you eat, and it's starting your day with water. And because I see so many clients who come to my center who are challenged with health, it's amazing how many people do not start their day with water or even drink enough water. So I think most importantly is that we're drinking water, even better, lemon water first thing in the morning or lemon ginger water first thing in the morning to stimulate that thirst response and start the detoxification process that hopefully, you have been detoxing while you're sleeping and not eating so close to bed and digesting your food while you're sleeping so that we're able to start releasing the toxins once you start drinking your water in the morning. A lot of my clients, I would say, are stressed and, they get up and they're running to the bathroom and heading for the coffee right away. So what I suggest to people is having your lemon water right by your bed or your glass of water by your bed. And then as soon as you get up, before you do anything, you drink that water. So at least you're getting that water in you right away before, a hectic morning if it's hectic in your house when you wake up. And then you really want to stay hydrated throughout the day. Something I see often too is that a lot of my clients are not drinking enough water during the day and they try to drink a lot of their water at nighttime, and that's not going to serve you well in terms of detox, in terms of energy levels, in terms of craving. So I always recommend that you drink the majority of your water by 2 p.m. And it's not to say you can't drink more water after 2 p.m., but that's going to really start flushing things out. It's really going to help with, cravings, and you're going to ensure that you're getting your hydration earlier on in the day as opposed to later on in the night where it's going to disrupt you. They have to get up to go to the bathroom at nighttime because they're drinking so much water at nighttime. Tip 3, you're eating 3 to 5 servings of vegetables daily. I mean, this seems so common for those of us that do eat our vegetables daily, but for beginners, most people are eating 0 to 1. And I see this a lot when I get my clients coming to my center. So we want to aim to eat the rainbow. We've always heard that. And eating 3 to 5 at your plate or in your cup every time you go to eat. This will ensure you're getting, all your vitamins and minerals again, but also the fiber that we need to help detox. Of course, including the cruciferous veggies that I talked about, the broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, eating the leafy greens. Not only is this going to be great for detox, but we're getting our chlorophyll, which is the dark green pigment in the leafy greens, and that's going to help oxygenate our body and help to clean out our blood. Eating more fresh foods. I always recommend that people eat more raw. Beginners are always scared about that. So I just say you don't have to be totally raw, but eat more raw. Have something raw present at every meal. And then choosing more liver-friendly foods. Beets, garlic, onions, cucumbers, citrus, berries. Limiting the chemicals, limiting the things that cause your liver to be overburdened. Limiting sugar. In fact, cut out the sugar. I'm not a fan of even minimal amounts of the refined sugar. Switching more to natural sweeteners, and even being mindful of using natural sweeteners. Of course, being more mindful of chemicals. That's what's going to overburden our liver. Not only chemicals in your food. We want to eat as fresh as possible to minimize chemicals. We want to start getting away from the processed foods, even if they're healthy processed foods. Or so-called healthy, a lot of these still have a lot of chemicals. So we want to start going to more fresh, limiting the chemicals that we eat, but also so important, what you're putting on your skin, what you're cleaning your house with. These are all chemicals that you're around that we want to minimize because our body will absorb them. We all know this. We got to limit our alcohol or cut it out. That is going to affect our liver and dehydrate us. And also limiting caffeine. I'm not entirely against caffeine, but I find most people abuse it. So, making sure that, and also not only is it abused, the types of quality, the quality of a lot of coffees is poor, but it's also very dehydrating. So you want to be very mindful and conscious of your caffeine use. Number 9 is supporting your gut with more fermented foods, homemade kimchi, homemade sauerkraut, and everyone always thinks it's so difficult. It's actually not hard. It's such a simple recipe. And once people do it once, they see how simple it is. And that's on my website. So I'll be sending you recipe books as well, but I can send the recipe for very easy homemade sauerkraut. And then having things like, I'm a big fan here in Nicaragua of doing homemade tepache, or do you make tepache? Yes. It's actually very similar to kombucha, except you ferment pineapple skins and you don't actually use a SCOBY. I also use mango skins, which is delicious as well. And then, miso is very good. Kefir, increasing your fermented foods to help with your gut flora. And finally, number 10, I think this is so important as well, and it's not food, but it's moving your body. A lot of people don't move their body enough, and you have to move your body to help the toxins be removed, to help stabilize your blood sugar, to help with lymphatic flow, and also to help with managing stress. So even if it's, it doesn't have to be a hardcore workout, it could be different things: walking, swimming, dancing, a home workout, a 15-minute home workout, some different things to move your body so that you're helping it detox, but you're also helping it to keep strong. So those are my top 10 daily tips. I know it's a lot in a short amount of time, and of course I could expand on them, but I think what I'll do is I have some notes here, and I'm going to send the notes to your guests that are watching as well, along with my recipe books. So I have 2 raw recipe books that I have, and people can email me, and actually in the subject line, write healing, and I will send them all 3 attachments.
Thank you so much. I heard my holiday grocery list. I was like, these are the things. These are the things. Go and buy those things that Grace mentioned. And then, with all of the resources that we're going to share with you, you're going to find the recipes that include those things. And then that's how we make those healthy foods taste delicious. That's part of what I do too, right? Or what we both do. What we all do is we are teaching people how to make these healthy foods taste delicious so it becomes more sustainable. And also, you are also sharing some of the same things that Lissa and Nate were sharing, which means they're real. We all are agreeing. And it all comes down to, yes, we can logically know it, but if we don't do it, nothing's going to change. And so, the movement piece, I don't know, is it willpower? Is it motivation? Is it discipline? Maybe it's a mix of all of it, but it's time now for you all here that are watching this to make those changes. Now you know how to do it. Now you know what to do. Do it. I'm like, I don't know how I can share my desire, like I wish I could come to each and every one of your houses and make food for all of you and then bring you along a little hike with me and do this, but I can't. All I can do is share what works for me. All our guests can share what works for them. So it's really up to you now to take this information and put it into practice. So I wish that this becomes easy for you through some of these practices. And the
And
more that
Danielle,
you do it, the easier it gets. Yeah.
I always tell people to encourage them. I'm like, it doesn't have to be this big, massive change right away. Start small. Start
Yeah.
with making a commitment to 15 minutes a day of moving your body, or adding in like one veggie or fruit you've never worked with before every day, and you just start small until you become kind of an expert at that and it feels good. And then you add on from there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We don't want to overwhelm people. We want people to feel empowered to make the changes by choosing one or two things to start with. But knowing that as you're hearing these echoes of the practices that really work, it is truly these simple practices that will make all the difference. And I think that's what's so beautiful about it, is that it's easy as long as you implement it. And when you implement it, like the making sauerkraut. I also know, my students have also like, oh, I'm a little bit, the fermentation module, it's a little bit scary. I'm like, you literally mix shredded cabbage and salt and you leave it on the counter. Like that's all you have to do, squeeze it a bit and punch it down a bit. So it's once you take that leap, and then that now that you're listening to this, now that you're getting, and when I say you, I mean all of you here listening, you're getting the resources to support this journey of yours. So making this change with the support, knowing that you're not alone, knowing that that you have this solid foundation of knowledge that collectively myself and the experts here have put this stuff into practice. And not only that, but we're talking about stuff that's been used for thousands and thousands of years. So, choose one, two things, start today, small, and be empowered and inspired to make the changes. Because once you start to do it, you're going to feel so amazing. You really are, I promise. So thank you so much, Grace. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing your top tips with us and just showing us that it can really be easy once we implement those. And I will again make sure that when I follow up with everyone, send everyone an email, it has the information how to get your books. So thank you.
Putting this on, it's so important. It's so great.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're gonna move to our next speaker. So we're here thinking about the holidays ahead, but there's really, the most important piece of it all is ourselves, right? Because it's easy to get caught up doing things for others, cooking for family, planning gatherings, making sure everyone else is cared for. Raise your hand if you resonate with that, if you're that person. And we forget our own health. And so Crystal's here to talk about her health journey. She's here to share with us personally what's going on, but also how important it is to take care of ourselves before we can actually take care of others. And so that's by implementing all these things that we've already been talking about. And so how do you stay supported, grounded, not only for the holidays, but for everyday life? Because that's another thing is, yes, the holidays are coming. And if you have a relationship with the holidays or not, it's still part of life, right? And maybe you don't celebrate at your own homes, but the pressure is there, right? Collectively. And so how do we show up for ourselves then for the people we love as well? So welcome, Crystal. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yay!
First, I'll just do a bit of an introduction for those who don't know me here, because there's a lot of people on here that I see who are totally newbies to me. I have some of my students on here, so hey everybody. Thank you all for joining us today. So my name is Crystal. I run an online raw vegan culinary school called Crystal Dawn Culinary, and I've been eating a high raw vegan diet for the last 12 years. And so health and wellness is a huge part of my life, but we can get lost, even though it's such a huge part of my life. It's my whole career. The self-care usually gets, thrown to the wayside. So first, I just want to say this kind of speaking is not my forte. And when Danielle reached out to me to do this, I was like, oh my gosh, like public speaking in this setting, I get very nervous. So I'm going to do my best. I am a teacher first and foremost, a culinary teacher. I can slay a culinary class like nobody's business, but if I have to talk in this kind of setting, it's a totally different story. So I have some notes out here in front of me that I'm going to be following along. And I want to give you some top tips on how to prioritize yourself with self-care, which is going to translate to every day of your life, but also the holidays. You know, it's going to translate for every day of the year, every season of the year. So first, I just want to get a show of hands, and you can just type a 1 in the chat and tell me who here feels like self-care is selfish and they feel bad if they even take a moment to rest. Who has this feeling? I'm putting my hand up, so you can just type a 1 or a yes in the chat. If anybody feels that way, who here feels like when they take a moment for themselves, when they relax, they feel bad? They feel bad about it. They feel like they're not being productive, that they should be doing something else instead of resting, right? This is like a common thing, and especially with women, because we always feel like we have to be doing something, we have to be doing productive. If I even just take a moment to sit down and eat for myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could be doing this, I could be doing that. And then you start thinking about your to-do list and it's all piling up. Well, this is the first thing that we need to change, is we have to look at self-care and rest as a gift and prioritize that, because if we don't take care of ourselves first, then we're not going to be able to show up for everyone else around us. We're not going to be the best version of ourselves. And so let's put it in the mindset that, hey, I want to take care of myself so that I can show up as the best version of myself for my kids, for my family, for my friends, for my clients, for my students. And then when you think about it that way, then you don't feel like it's selfish, right? You feel like you're taking care of yourself, and you feel like now you're doing it it's because I'm showing up for everyone else. So let's change that mindset. And as soon as I think about it that way, then it changes everything for me. And I'm like, okay, this is when I can actually prioritize my self-care. Now, as an entrepreneur, and there's lots of entrepreneurs on this call today, so we all know self-care gets very difficult, and it's hard to find time for self-care when we're running a business, because our business comes first, right? But so this is something over the 6 years of running my business that I've really had to figure out. And finally this year, well, because I didn't have a choice, which we'll talk more about in a second, I really had to prioritize my self-care, and I finally have got it figured out. It only took me 6 years of running my business to figure out that I'm going to take this time for myself every day, and then I'm going to focus on my business. And for me, that's the mornings. Like my mornings, like I will not even schedule a meeting until 11. Like I say, I'm not available till after 11. I take my mornings, I walk my dog, because taking care of my dog too is a priority for myself. I want to make my juice, then I want to make my smoothie, I want to do some food prep, and I'm going to do whatever I need to do in the morning. So that's how I take care of myself first and foremost during the day, to show up the best version of myself for my students and for my business and whoever else. So I'm going to go through some core messages here, which is why self-care is crucial, especially during the holidays. And it was funny when Danielle said, oh, let's like talk about how taking care of yourself during the holidays. And I said, oh, this is really funny because I don't really celebrate the holidays. I don't have kids. I don't have a lot of family here, so I don't do a lot of things over the Christmas season. But also too, at my age now, I don't put myself in situations where I have to prioritize self-care in order to get through that situation. Like I won't go to a party where there's lots of alcohol. I won't go to somewhere where people are going to make me feel bad about the way that I eat. Like at my age now, I'm just, because I've had to deal with that enough over the years, I just don't even put myself in that situation. But I know that a lot of you cannot, and you probably have lots of engagements throughout the holidays and everything. So you're going to have to, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks to handle that while you have to do that over the holidays. So stress and busyness increase, right? Which can weaken your immune system. So this is why self-care is really important over the holidays. Overindulgence in food, alcohol, or late nights. Now, it's so funny, when Halloween to New Year's, they call it flu season, but really it's not flu season. It is sugar and alcohol season, right? That's the reason why it's flu season, is because everyone is drinking alcohol and eating processed high sugar foods. This is why people get sick during this time. So, if we can make better choices by maybe drinking less alcohol or not even drinking at all. For myself, I don't drink alcohol. I haven't in years and years and years. And it's just something that never agreed with me. And it is a toxin. And with all of the studies out now, what I love is how being a non-alcoholic drinker is being normalized now. Like, finally, we have people being outspoken and talking about all the studies on how bad alcohol is for your body, and how it disrupts your sleep, how it shrinks your brain, like all of these things, right? So even stopping alcohol altogether, or just not drinking a lot of alcohol, would be a good one, and making those healthier choices. And like what Nate and Lissa were saying, and also Grace, they said a lot of things. Almost everything they said ties into self-care, right? As soon as you're eating better, you're taking better care of yourself, you're going to feel better. And it's going to be easier to deal with high stress situations, especially like what Grace was talking about with the adaptogens. I am huge into adaptogens. I know Danielle is too, loves her adaptogens. They regulate your adrenals, make things, you can handle stress a lot better. So I really got into adaptogens a few years ago, and they've really helped me a lot. Emotions can run high when you're dealing with family dynamics, right? There's always some kind of drama at every family gathering throughout the holidays. So then this can also cause a lot of stress. And then, of course, without the intentional self-care, it's easy to burn out, feel resentful, or miss the joy of the whole holiday season, right? The whole point is to get together, have fun, see your family and friends. And of course, you're going to be missing out on all of that if you're not taking care of yourself. So 3 practical self-care anchors that you can do. So nourishment, which is a huge topic that we've been talking about since the very first talk with Nate and Lissa, is the prioritizing the healthy foods. So if you can even get in, like what Grace was saying too, getting in more raw food is going to make a huge difference in how you feel. Even getting a smoothie in the morning. I love my juice in the morning. It's like the first thing I have. I don't drink water first thing in the morning, but I have my juice. My juice is like my number one thing that I need for my hydration, to get me going for the day. So prioritizing your whole, vibrant, plant-based foods to keep your energy balanced. And number 2 is boundaries and rest. Saying no to what doesn't serve you, even if it means disappointing others. This is something I've really had to learn over the years, especially with family. Because if you are vegan and you have a family who are non-vegan, or some of them don't agree with the way you live your life or the way that you eat, hanging out in these family situations can be really difficult. And I have experienced this over the years. Some of my family, they still just don't accept the way that I eat. And were always making me feel bad about the way that I eat, and every family situation that had to deal with food. Even though, and it always got me so mad, because I've never had to ask anyone to make food for me. I'm like, I take care of myself. I bring my own food. Like, don't worry about it. I can take care of myself. It's not an imposition on them. But Some people just, I think number one, the way that they act that way is because they get a bit jealous and they wish that they could be committed and have um, take care of themselves better in that way, right? And eat better, but they just don't have the willpower. So then they're just reflecting that on you. But that's a whole other conversation. So saying no to what doesn't serve you. So if you're going to be going to a family event and you know that there's going to be a lot of drama there and there's just going to be some dynamics that you don't want to that you don't want to subject yourself to, say no. Because you're going to go and then you're going to regret saying yes. And then it's just not going to be good for you, and then you're going to leave stressed. And I know that I've had this situation before, so now I just say no if I know that I'm putting myself in a situation that is not going to serve me. Also with your time, saying no to anything. If you're overwhelmed and you're already overworked and it's going to cut into your self-care time, say no. Because I say no a lot lately, this whole year, to things that is going to go over and above what I already have on my schedule. And I will tell you from experience that a lot of people don't like it when you say no. And I had to learn that the hard way too, which is crazy to me. Because a lot of these people who get upset when you say no, they're over here in the health and wellness community preaching, setting boundaries and saying no. So what the heck? But just stand your ground, okay? Just stand your ground. So just say no to what doesn't serve you. Protect your sleep and downtime. Okay, that's huge. And make sure that you are setting a bedtime, that you're getting enough sleep. Sleep is huge. If I have a night where I don't sleep, I'm a disaster. Like, I've always been that way. My body doesn't function off little sleep. I have to get at least 8 hours in order to show up as my best self, because I like to work out in the morning and I'm really busy during the day. And then everything magnifies when you're tired. Stress, anything is going to, little things that would even irritate you that wouldn't if you had a lot of sleep. Everything is just going to show up a lot more magnified if you have little rest. And so we talked about this at the beginning, thinking of rest as a gift to you, okay? Because you are to both yourself, a gift to both yourself and your loved ones. So presence and mindfulness is also a huge one. So this is a huge self-care anchor. So taking a few minutes each day to pause, like what we did at the beginning with Danielle, which was really helpful, thank you. To just breathe deeply, even taking a walk in nature, and just taking that moment, especially someone like me who is on electronics all day long because I run an online business, I'm on the computer. I have to get away from my computer, and thank God I have a dog. I'm like, seriously, I'm like, oh my gosh, my dog is a gift because I have to walk him every day. And I always say that. I'm like, if I didn't have my dog, I probably wouldn't get outside and be walking every day. And it makes such a big difference. So reframing self-care, especially during the holidays, instead of viewing it as a one more thing to do, because I'm notorious for that. If I have to add one more thing to my routine, it can feel a little bit stressful. But instead, just see it as the foundation for everything else. Again, it ties back to what we said at the beginning. It's the foundation. It's going to help you get through your day better, help you show up better for everybody else. Because, of course, I know we all hear this all the time. You can't pour from an empty cup. You need to refill yours first, right? And what I always say too, whenever anyone asks me oh, how do I start eating more raw food, or how do I add more raw food into my diet? I always say small, consistent actions. Don't try to add all this stuff onto your plate overnight, because most people will fail. This happens all the time. And then you get overwhelmed and stressed out. And it's not about perfection. So just taking small baby steps, consistent actions, which will compound over time. So small, consistent steps are going to be more impactful than doing nothing at all. Okay, so my talk is a little shorter, I feel like, than everyone else. But so to end out my talk, I want to talk a little bit about mental health. Oh, sorry, I just had one more thing I want to talk about is mental health and eating healthy, which ties into self-care. Because one question that's been coming up a lot lately, and I'm like, I think the universe is sending me these questions to reflect on this specific question. I've had a lot of people all of a sudden ask me, hey, Crystal, I've been dealing with depression. Does raw food help mental health? Or, hey, Crystal, will eating 100% raw or eating more healthy food help with my mental health? Because I feel like I'm really struggling. And it's funny when I was getting asked this, and I had to really sit and think about it and reflect for a minute to figure out how to answer, because I myself, I've had one of the worst years of my life. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm the right person to answer this, because my mental health for most of this year, at the beginning of the year, was really bad. And even though I eat super clean, a high raw vegan diet, very minimal cooked food, like super clean. And then I thought about it and I'm like, you know what? If I wasn't eating this way and living this lifestyle, I probably wouldn't have gotten through what I had to go through. So my answer then was yes, of course it does help with your mental health, because um, as soon as you start doing something for yourself, you're going to feel better about yourself, even if you're going through a hard time and even if you're super depressed. And I probably, if I wasn't eating that way, I probably would just be lying in bed all day, depressed all day, right? Instead of getting up and showing up for my business and still doing my workout and walking my dog and still doing all the things that I need to do. So yeah, I just wanted to make a note of that because I think it's really important. And like I said, I kept getting this question over and over, and I really wanted to talk about that, eating healthy. But it's like what Danielle said at the beginning. She's like, you can eat the healthiest diet, and still have health issues, and even with mental health, but it all comes down to your inner work as well. So the both really tie into each other, right? Yeah. And so, okay, my call to action for you all. I have some homework for you. I would love for you to choose one self-care practice to commit to this holiday season. Okay, even starting this week. But I mean, if you're counting the holiday season, you can even start after Halloween if you want. Well, we have Thanksgiving here next weekend, which is really early. So the Canadians can start their self-care next weekend. So just one self-care practice. It doesn't have to be huge. You can do a daily walk. You can choose to journal, have a morning smoothie, or an earlier bedtime. Or another huge one, because which I think is a huge thing for self-care, is taking some time during the day to put your phone on do not disturb or silent, which is what a huge thing, which is what I do now. At a certain time now, I just put it on do not disturb and I don't even look at my phone. So just choosing one thing, which is really simple, and just remind yourself that when you put yourself first, it's not selfish. Okay, you're not doing anything bad. You're not taking away from others. You're actually giving them the best version of you. So that is my talk. Oh, and then my free gift is the raw vegan frosting guide. So for those who don't know me, I'm kind of big into raw desserts. This is my kind of my main thing. I love making sweets. I have a sweet tooth. And so I have a raw vegan frosting guide that teaches you how to work with raw vegan frosting, how to make the most amazing recipes. I have a bunch of recipes and video tutorials with you for you, and I give you some links to some recipes as well. So yeah, that'll be really helpful for you if you want to get into start making raw desserts, or just even adding raw frosting onto a baked cake. I hear that raw frosting is way easier to work with than traditional buttercream, apparently. So
And it's way more delicious, in my opinion.
yeah, and more nutritious.
Yeah, also. Oh, thank you so much, Crystal. I really appreciate it. And wow, yeah, everything that you said, it really brings things together because, well, what Grace said about the gut-brain axis, and it's connected. So it really is like, I think the more that you learn about how food affects the body on a deeper level, the more that we see what we eat affects our mental processes, either more brain fog or more clarity, depending on what you eat, because the microbiome influences how we see, how we feel, how we show up. And so, yeah, all of these practices that you've shared are extremely important. And thank you for the raw frosting guide, because it's not easy to get an amazing, delicious frosting that really works. I feel like your frosting is really on par. And yeah, if you do one thing this holiday season, if you can make one of Crystal Dawn's delicious raw vegan desserts, people will be immediately converted. Hello. At least with the dessert. And that's actually a really perfect segue into Debbie's talk, because Debbie is going to be sharing with us something very delicious. Yeah, so don't forget, guys, put yourselves first, make it a priority no matter what. So that is, yeah, I hope that that's a really big takeaway for you. And yeah, that it's not selfish to put yourself first. All right, Debbie! Debbie, the nervous system nutritionist. I am so grateful that you're here with me. I was just on Debbie's summit this week. Was it this week or last week?
Last week.
Last week, and I actually thought it was amazing. I don't know if I mentioned to you, but it was a very, very good summit, and there was some really interesting information shared. And Debbie was a current student of, or is a current student, is a previous student of Pachavega. She graduated with the Raw Food Chef certificate, and you've gone on to do some amazing things. So you didn't stop with my course. You continued, you've learned, you've grown so much, and I'm so proud to showcase you here as one of our experts. Yeah, and that also just goes to show that, you know, you can study from many different people, and then you can make it yours. And that's also what I really truly want the people who come to learn from me, my students, is to learn what I have to share, make it your own, and then share it with the world, because we know how this can ripple outwards. And so you're going to talk today about guilt-free turtles that you'll love. Are you going to share the recipe with us right now, live?
I'm going to do it live.
Yes, okay, this is exciting. So we can take and we can add this recipe to your holiday menu. So it's going to be this, is it Canadian turtles?
Yeah.
I'm Canadian, so like I know what turtles are. Do the Americans know what turtles are out there? No?
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, well, this is exciting because I can already taste them. Not only are these going to be delicious, but they're going to help soothe your nervous system. So how can that be possible, to have a dessert, a sweet treat, and also have it soothe your nervous system at the same time? So welcome, Debbie. Yay.
Thank you so much. I am so excited. Yes, and love turtles. Turtles are my all-time. I have such a memory as a child of turtles, and they were just, I could eat the whole box. I looked forward to Christmas just for the turtles as a child. So it brings back a lot of childhood memories for me. But before we started, I wanted to say, I do have a little bit I wanted to say on the nervous system and nutrition, because to me, the nervous system is like the groundwork. And if you don't have the groundwork and your groundwork is rocky, when you lay that foundation, which is the nourishment to your body and to your nervous system, you are not good. Things aren't going to jive. And everybody has been saying things like everything connects together. And what I have to say isn't different than what everybody else has said, maybe in a little different way. But I wanted to say to everyone, one of my mentors, Peter Sage, he says, the war cry of failure is, I already know that. And so you may be hearing the same thing from everybody, which is amazing, but don't tune out, because that's the war cry of failure, that you already know everything. And so I kind of picked out the things that kind of were across all of the talks so far that were so amazing, beautiful information. One is simplicity. If it's not simple, might not be easy to do, but it's simple. If somebody's selling you something that's hard and complex, probably not what you need. Having intention, really having that intention to what you're doing, that mindfulness to really thinking about what you're doing. Detoxing is great. That's amazing. That's how I got started. I was a sugar addict, and November 1st will be 12 years since I broke that chain. I wanted to get off of that processed sugar, and I did it with a detox, and it's part of my life now. I also wanted to say that it's all of this. If you're having issues, if you're struggling with things, it's not about your willpower. It's not about you being broken. It's in our biology. It really is. All the chemicals, everything is about our biology. You can't hack your biology. The other one, and Crystal said this really well, is our peer group. Our environment is so important. And if you're around a bunch of people who are drinking and smoking, chances are you're going to get into that too. So find a peer group. There's all of the people that talk, Danielle, Crystal, Lisa, and Nate, and Grace, all have communities, myself as well. Be in a community of people who are really about nourishing the body. And for me, it's about safety first, nourish always. And so I have learned a lot about the nervous system, fortunately working with one of my coaches. I've been so grateful for all that I've learned. It's really so important to have safety and to nourish your body all the time. So I wanted to start with a little intention. So if you could just, if you feel safe enough to close your eyes for a second or have a soft gaze, put one hand on your heart and your other hand on your belly, and just take 3 deep breaths. And notice how your nervous system feels, how your body feels, not in your head, but your body. Are you feeling calm? Maybe you're anxious. Maybe you're overwhelmed by all the information that you've learned today. And whatever you're feeling is okay. There's nothing wrong with it. One of the things that we need to remember is that we are all individual and unique, and our nervous system and how we react to things is like our fingerprint. It's only ours. Nobody else has it. Nobody can tell you how you feel, really, to your core. The only person is you, because you're the only person that went through all of the experiences. You're the only person that has your inner self. So this is really important. And I think Danielle let me share. So I want to whip through something. If I can, here it is. If it's okay, if you can see, I wanted just to go through a few things. And I wrote it down because, like Crystal, what happens when you're nervous? When you're nervous, your prefrontal cortex goes offline, which is your thinking brain. And so I wanted to make sure I didn't forget anything. So the reason I'm putting this up is because I thought I was fine. I thought there was nothing wrong with me. Not that there's anything wrong with me. I'm not broken, but I thought I was handling stress. I was calm. But what I realized after doing the nervous system work is I was not fine. I was in sympathetic almost all the time, and that was my normal. And so what I'm sharing right now is because I want you to, I think a lot of people, that's their normal and they don't even know it. So in the US, nearly 49% of all Americans experience significant daily stress, okay, especially because it's the highest rates among high income nations. About 16% of US adults report feeling stressed every single day. And in 2025, 54% of US workers said job insecurity was significantly impacting their stress. And in 2024, 43% of adults said they felt more anxious than they did the previous year. And Canadians are no better. You know, we are all stressed out too. I'm sitting in the Toronto area. 40% of Canadian employees feel they're constantly stressed out. 21.2% of all employed Canadians report higher work stress, and women are higher than men slightly. 63% of Canadians say they feel the same or more stress compared to 5 years ago. And 38% of Canadians say stress has impacted their daily lives at least once. And I was that person that's probably in that group that would say I was not in that group. I didn't realize I was. And holidays, stress. 88% of women say the holidays are more stressful than any other time of the year. Take on that self-care, set boundaries. You don't have to do everything. Make some new traditions that are easy on you. Get your kids to do more of the work. You know, there's lots of things you can do. And 77% say stress affects their eating and their sleep. And 64% report fatigue, tension, and digestive upset over the holidays. And there's a reason for that. It's in your biology. Oops, I got twice there. So I wanted just to do your nervous system. There's 3 states of our nervous system. And I'm just going through this really quickly. Ventral vagal, this is when you're grounded, you're connected, you're clear. This is when you can heal, when you can connect. This is when you can transform. And when you're in ventral vagal, you're feeling so good. This is when you want to eat beautiful, nourishing foods. You're in a good place. The next one is sympathetic. And this is when you're anxious, reactive, pressured, you may be mobilized. This is preparing you for fight or flight. And then there is dorsal. So eventually, dorsal is good because this is where we shut down to go to sleep. But dorsal is where we become numb, foggy, flat, disconnected. And our body is shutting us down to conserve energy. So if you think about it, all of these states are important. We go through them all every day, but it's where you live. And I was living in sympathetic and didn't even know it. And tuning into my nervous system and being intentional about it has really changed a lot for me. But if you are running away from a bear or something, here in Toronto, it's probably a coyote, you know, if you were worried about that, you're running away, your system is taking your digestion offline so that you can and your brain offline so you can put all of your energy into running. Well, eventually you run out of steam and then you're going to shut down if that's what happens. So we go through these states all day, every day, and they're good. But when we are in sympathetic and we're preparing for fight or flight, and there's no issue with safety and we're safe, then we're dysregulated. And that's when it becomes an issue, when we're dysregulated, when our nervous system state doesn't match the level of safety we have in our environment. And that happens a lot, I think, in the work and corporate world, which I came from, and also I think in the entrepreneurial world. So what are the physical signs? And we've gone through some of this already. This is the signs of you're in sympathetic. Maybe your tight shoulders or jaw, you know, this is where you're getting in the back. You might have a lot of knots, digestive issues, fatigue, even though you're sleeping, headaches or muscle pain, shallow breathing, cravings. When you are in sympathetic, your body is craving energy. It wants the energy to keep you going. It's all about survival. And so this is why we end up, and then our weight plateaus or we gain weight. And this is putting us in protection mode so that we can survive. Especially, you know, I did a lot of yo-yo dieting when I was younger. And all that did is hurt me because my body went into shutdown. and it keeps the weight or puts on the weight so that I can survive. Emotionally, it could be irritable, short fuse, brain fog, forgetfulness, overthinking or rumination, feeling disconnected, difficulty focusing, and guilt after resting. From a behavioral perspective, overworking, gonna just keep working. I heard this one today, people pleasing, numbing out, scrolling, snacking, binge watching, some of those things, avoiding social plans, and neglecting joy, and this is where what Crystal said about really self-care and looking after yourself. So if you can see yourself in any of that, I thought I was fine, but I had a lot of these things that I had no idea. And so when we are in fight or flight, our body thinks we have to survive, not lose weight. Our digestion slows down, our metabolism drops, our fat stores increase, our cravings rise, sleep and repair are paused. But when we are in safety and calm, our body feels safe to release, digestion and detox are turned on, metabolism balances, energy becomes steady, fat is burned efficiently, and sleep and healing happen naturally. And you know how I asked you to put your hand on your heart and your other hand on your belly? There's a reason for that. Our sympathetic system is in the backside. Our vagus nerve, which somebody talked about, is running the front side and the back side. The back side is the sympathetic, the front side is the parasympathetic. Our heart is where our ventral, and our dorsal is our belly, or in that area. And so when you put your hands on your heart and your belly, it's intentional to help you to get into ventral state and to calm down. And I just wanted to say, this is the foundation. If you're putting your nervous system is on a rocky foundation, it's not going to make a very good building. Nutrition is, I totally believe it's the foundation. But if you've got the rocky ground, which is our nervous system, it's not going to help you. So that's all I wanted to say about that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make turtles, because this is about nourishing ourselves. And I love turtles. That was my favorite thing. But now, thanks to Danielle, learning from her, I'm just setting you guys over here so I can do my recipe. I learned a simple, easy way that you can have nourishment, okay? Like, this is so easy. You can take this to one of your parties you're going to. So easy. So I'm going to make a chocolate sauce. And the chocolate sauce, I've got cacao butter. So if you look at cacao butter, and by the way, I would not be here if it weren't for Danielle and this course that I took from her, the raw food chef course. And I remember she made us do demos and do videos. And the first ones, Danielle's probably laughing at the first video that I did. They were horrible. But just doing that in private for myself, for the course, gave me the courage and gave me the safety to do it and branch out a little bit at a time. I wouldn't have been able to start here. I started by doing them in private for Danielle, and that's it. So this is cacao butter. It is solid, hard rock when it is at room temperature. And this is going to give us the foundation of our chocolate, to be able to set the chocolate. So what I'm going to do, show you, simple. I melted. Now you can melt your cacao butter on the stove on a very low heat, or you can melt it on in your dehydrator if you're raw. So those are two ways to do it. I have my dehydrator is right here, but I just did it on the stove for time's sake. So this is, it looks like oil. I don't know if you can see. I don't want it to spill. You can't see it. It looks like oil. It really just looks like oil. So we're going to add in some raw cacao powder. So this is, yeah, I've got about a quarter cup of that. Just going to add it in. Now for your cacao butter, again, it's raw. You want to make sure that you're using ethically sourced organic versions. I'm just going to stir that in. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of maple syrup. And you can add in a little or a little more to get to the sweetness that you want. I'm doing 3 tablespoons. You can do more. And I will be giving you the recipe for this, along with other recipes in my holiday, stress-free holiday ebook for a whole bunch of recipes that I have and I did. Some of them are raw, some of them are not. And this one can be raw or it doesn't have to be. Just gonna put a little bit of vanilla in this as well. And that's it. There you go. You have a beautiful chocolate sauce. All right. Just going to let that cool for a second. Bring in my, put that there. Now, we're going to make some turtles. So easy. Get your kids to do it if you've got younger kids, or if you don't, that's fine. I don't have young kids anymore. So you have pecans and dates, and that's the date. So if you don't know what a turtle, oh my gosh, it is pecans, caramel, and chocolate. And the kind that you buy in the store, it's made by Nestle, has all sorts of waxes and additives and sugar. We're going to use this as kind of the dates, beautiful. Dates are a natural source of glucose, potassium, and magnesium. They provide slow, steady energy. You're going to digest it instead of the crash of refined sugar. And this is going to be our natural grounding with our sweet. And all I'm going to do is wrap my pecan in my date like that. That's all I need to do. I just took out the core. Now our pecans, make sure that you, the best thing to do is to make sure you soak your pecans before you use them, and then you can rehydrate, take the water back out in a dehydrator, or you can do it by putting it on a cloth, on a baking sheet, and let it dry naturally. For me, it took about 5 days to do it that way and about 12 hours in the dehydrator. But you want to get rid of those enzyme inhibitors that are keeping the nuts and seeds safe, and so they don't spoil. And then once you do that, then you can put them in the freezer. I store mine in the freezer because there's lots of beautiful fats. So the pecans are rich in healthy fats, vitamin B. They support stable blood sugar and then brain health as well. They kind of look, but them and walnuts look like brains. High in magnesium, which is going to calm our nervous system. So I could make more, but I think I'll just leave it at that. I'll make them later. And then all we need to do to bring back our beautiful chocolate sauce. I'm going to take this beautiful little slotted spoon here, dip this in, coat it around. And if I let this, it's pretty hot, but if I let it cool a little bit more, they'll be a little thicker for the chocolate sauce. But I just want to give you the idea. All right, so I now have chocolate dipped dates and pecans here. I'm going to do a couple. And then if you want to go even further out, what you can do, one more, let me do the other one, is add a little bit of sea salt, or I have sea salt I got in Portugal. That's like the salt of the earth, a little flakes here. And you can just add a little bit of sea salt to give it a little extra special taste. Let those cool. You can store them in the fridge or the freezer. Take them out, have a couple when you're watching your show, or when you're take them to friends and family, give them away for Christmas treats instead of a box of chocolates. Have amazing, 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 amazing. Ah. Mm-mm-mm. Mm. That
You
was
don't have to talk with your mouth full. Oh, wow. I mean, that is the simplest way. I mean, how simple is that? It's so simple. I mean, besides like melting the cacao beforehand, right? And yeah, did you see this, Helen? She put turtles as her picture. Thank you for doing that.
Hey,
That's so
Helene,
cute.
yay. Woo.
Yay!
All right. So easy. I just want to say, yeah, so often we think of indulgence and health as opposites, but what you want to do first and foremost is create safety in your nervous system. And when your nervous system is safe, then food becomes a joy again. And you can't digest. You can be eating as clean as you want, but if your nervous system isn't feeling safe, if you're not in ventral, then you're not getting the best of all those beautiful nourishing foods that you're putting in your body. But on the other side, you can't just make your nervous system say and eat junk. It's not going to work. So this is really about nourishing your body and nourishing your nervous system together. And I have one more minute, so I just want to let you know for my free gift, I have three things for you. Number one, my stress-free holiday cookbook has a number of recipes that I did. I also have a pantry guide to give you an idea of what kind of things you can have in your pantry. And as a bonus, I put a few recipes in there, you know, like get rid of the salad dressings you bought at the store. Make your own. It takes 2 minutes to make a simple vinaigrette, literally 2 minutes if you have this stuff on hand. So I've got that for you, a few recipes, and some of the recipes linked to videos that I've done if you want to check out things even further. And then to nourish your nervous system, I have 2 things. They're 2, I call them a meditation. One is a little grounding that you can do when you're feeling stressed over the holidays. It's like, I think 5 or 6 minutes long, just to kind of rest and reflect. The other thing everybody talked about, I think bar none, the whole group of experts today talked about the fact that we need to eat in calm. And I want to say one of my very first interviews I did 3 years ago was with a gentleman named George. And George was a survivor of melanoma. He went through 10 years and finally decided after 10 years of treatment and being told he had 4% chance of survival, he finally decided to just do things differently. He detoxed his body. And he said the biggest thing he did is to make sure that he ate in calm and that his nervous system was in that ventral calm state before he ate. And so the other little video, I have a video and an audio for you that you can download, is just a quick 2 to 3 minute practice before you eat. Hand on your heart, hand on your belly. Take a few deep breaths, practice a little bit of gratitude. Doesn't take very long. Bring yourself into calm before you eat. So those are my free gifts for you. Danielle, I'm so honored that you invited me here, and I'm so grateful to share with the audience today.
Thank you so much. It just started pouring rains here, so I don't know if you can hear the rain. Wow, thank you. Before we wrap up, I know it's at the top of the hour here, but I would like everyone to type in the chat, their number one, number two, number three things that they learned in this summit that that you are going to commit to. If it's something that you'll do once, or if it's something that you're going to commit to practicing on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, but kind of like 3 things that you will do that's going to help you not only get calm through the holidays, but also to support your nervous system, to support your gut health, to support the peace in your life. And I think that's really what I was getting at this whole summit is, how do we bring more peace and joy into our life when around all of us, depending on what you're looking at and consuming on a daily basis, but there's a lot of craziness happening. And how can we tune into ourselves and our inner peace? And how can we feed that inner peace with all of these practices that we talked about today, using food as the foundation for holistic healing, but then taking it that next step into the self-care, into paying attention to your nervous system, into walking, doing activities for your body. And so this is all perfect because it comes down to finding balance in our lives. And so I'm going to read, if you want to write down some things in the chat, I will read what you're going to be doing. So share with me, what are you doing? What are you going to do this week or this holiday season? So Ash, I'm so excited to meet Ash. Ash is coming to Nicaragua. She's going to be part of my 30-day raw food residency program. She is going to be setting more boundaries, chewing more, and eating on a consistent schedule every day. So thank you for sharing. Patty is going to eat in calm. I like that, eat in calm. Get a better sleep routine. I will happily share that I sleep 10 hours a night, and it is extremely important to me to get that sleep. So I make sure it happens. And she's going to eat slowly while not stressed. So thank you for sharing those things. Yeah, we've had such a journey. I love this. And thank you for Nate and Lissa at the beginning, reminding us that the gut wins come from small, consistent choices, and that they could be, free and available to us instantly, just if we choose. Grace gave us so many foods that we can help support our daily detox, and different practices that will lighten our load and help boost energy. Crystal reminded us that gut health or our overall health actually must come first with ourselves, because when we're nourished, we can then show up for others. And it's okay. Not only is it okay, it's essential, it's crucial and critical that we do give ourselves rest that we need. And when we know we need it. So please listen to your inner authority. Please listen to your body when it says it needs to rest, and please do rest. And then Debbie for showing us like how we can bring it all home with a sweet indulgence that can be joyful and also can support us. And I'm sure if you share these turtles with anybody, they're gonna love them, because how could pecans, dates, and chocolate not be delicious with this bit of vanilla? Delicious flavorings. So each of these perspectives, all of this perspective ties back to that idea that food is the foundation. And also, yes, the nervous system as part of that foundation is extremely essential. So if you enjoyed your time today, this is really just the beginning. If you're ready to take everything you learned and actually put it into action, the step-by-step do the thing list here, that's what the 21-day gut reset challenge is all about. So far, I think I've had almost 1,000 people have gone through this program. And I feel like it is one of the most foundational programs that I offer, because it's short, but it's really power-packed. And I'll say that it's something, because I can see a few of you on here that have already done the gut reset challenge. And I think Gloria, I think you've done it 3 times now, and she's gonna join again. But people are coming back to do it again. And the best part about it is, if you pay once, every year you get to join for free. And so my goal one day is that there's thousands of people taking this gut reset challenge. And what it is it's a gentle detox. It's a step-by-step program that has a meal plan. It has recipes. It follows along through my book called It's All About the Sauce. but it also includes all of these different holistic practices. There's meditation. Day 8, I make you dance with me. That's right, I love dancing. So, and we do this together. And so it's a guided process. We meet on October the 7th, which is Tuesday. And then we meet every Tuesday for 5 weeks. And you're going to be getting these emails. There's also an online portal. So it's very comprehensive. The book itself, I think, is over 100 something pages, filled with science. So it is a very, very value-packed course program that, you know, a lot of people, once they take this, they actually go on to become a certified raw food chef, the next step. So this is a great place to start. Download also all the free resources that these beautiful experts have shared with us. You know, they're experts for a reason, that what they're doing is really impacting many people's lives. And so thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up with your heart. Thank you for spending your time, your dedication. And Crystal came earlier than her 11 o'clock. So she is here to support this whole message and how important it is. Yeah, and that other next step is that, you know, if you do support my work, then it goes straight to the Pachavega kitchen, which is this beautiful sanctuary that I'm finally, after 14 years of being in business, I will have my own space. And it may take a long time. I've opened up the possibility to small micro investors. So if this is something that interests you, you can just send me an email. But basically, thank you for showing up here. Thank you for being here. Remember, healing is holistic, but food will always be the foundation. And yeah, and I hope that you really, really love your holiday season, and bring in some of these practices to make it easeful and joyful. Thank you. Does anybody have any last words? Any of the experts want to share one last thing, or anyone else want to share something that they feel like can be profound for everyone? Thank you.
I just
Yeah.
want to say thank you. I just wanted to reiterate again to say thank you to everybody for joining today and taking the time to do that. Just showing up to this is already a self-care thing to do for yourself, and for making the space comfortable, loving, and supportive. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, good point. It is. You being here and showing up is a form of self-care. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Debbie?
Oh, I just wanted to say that just taking one step is all you need to do to start. Just take one step. And Danielle introduced me to a quote that I use all the time. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. And just take one step that feels safe to you.
Yes. Oh, amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed day, wonderful year, holidays, and I hope I'll see you all soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.